Hello, and welcome to the Rankin Report for Sunday, April the 2nd, 2023. And before we begin, let me wish my wife Carolyn a happy birthday. She was born on this date. A lot of people thought she was going to be born on April the 1st. Didn't quite get there, which is probably just as well. Just as people thought I was going to be born on July 4th. Didn't quite make that either, just a few days after that. From the book of 1 Kings, chapter 8, verses 33 and 34. This is from Solomon's prayer of dedication of the temple of the Lord. When your people Israel had been defeated by an enemy, because they have sinned against you, and when they turn back to you and give praise to your name, praying and making supplication to you in this temple, then hear from heaven, and forgive the sin of your people Israel, and bring them back to the land you gave to their ancestors. If you've been watching the news these last few days, you know that the trigger has been pulled, figuratively speaking, and we need to pray that it does not turn literal. In their ongoing obsession with destroying President Donald Trump, his enemies have finally engineered an indictment against him on charges related to supposed hush money to keep quiet a supposed affair with an actress in pornographic films, an affair which both the president and the actress herself have denied, in a case which several legal scholars have said is one of the weakest they have ever seen. This is more than just a peevish attempt to, no pun intended, trump up charges against the former president, just so they can childishly, and some of us believe is still the rightful president of the United States, as do I, just so they can childishly taunt him, "You got in trouble, you got in trouble." That's not what this is. This is an effort to deliberately interfere with the 2024 presidential election and prevent Trump from running. Now, you can believe that this is part of an effort to transform the United States into a flat-out communist regime, despite the fact that communism has been repeatedly tried in many countries and it never works. Or you may think it is a demonically fueled attempt to remove the Christian influence from America and thwart God's plan for this nation, which is more likely at the heart of it all. Either way, the ultimate goal is to restrict our rights as Americans. Indeed, erase the very idea that our rights are given to us by God, and thus sacred and inalienable, in favor of an idea that rights are granted to us by government and can be taken away by the same on a whim. Is the seriousness of the danger we face now at last obvious? If a ruling body of elites can do this to a man of wealth and considerable resources, what can they do to ordinary folk like us? Many commentators have suggested that the U.S. government has crossed the line into tyranny. But what they have really done is simply made that move so blatant there is no blinking or turning from it now. The actual event horizon into tyranny was passed years ago. Are you praying for this nation? Good. Then you need to organize prayer vigils. Not just for Donald Trump and his family, who will likely be the next targets. Remember, after Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, the Pharisees planned to not only kill Jesus, but Lazarus as well. Sin grows. Not just for Donald Trump and his family, but for the nation as a whole. Churches, synagogues, home fellowships, student clubs that have either not been shut down by the schools or that meet somewhere off campus because the school actually took that step. Every believer needs to be on their knees now. The rebellion has begun, but at its heart the fight is spiritual. Our opponents are trying everything they can think of to goad us into physical conflict. Why do you think Trump was indicted on such a weak, flimsy case to begin with? But we now must be what Jesus said, wise as serpents, innocent as doves. We cried out to God the Father when it looked like Hillary Clinton had a serious shot at becoming president. That got God's enemies fearful. That got God's enemies angry. And now they are coming to fight with us with demonic fury from multiple paths. God has made his move in reaching out to us with what we believe are the beginnings of the Great Awakening. And they are terrified of that. So now they fight all the harder because they know that if people turn to the Lord, that's the ball game for them. So we need to cry out all the more. Remember the blind man crying out to Jesus in Mark chapter 10, verses 47? "Son of David, have mercy on me." The crowd told him to shut up. What did he do? Cried out all the more, shouted all the more, to the point where Jesus heard him. And the blind man was healed. He gave him what he asked for. We are in the land God gave our ancestors. What we need restored to us now is the liberty that God gave them. Pray for the Great Awakening. No king but Jesus. Independence forever. That's the Rankin Report for Sunday, April the 2nd, 2023. Happy birthday, Carolyn. God bless you all. Have a great day.